Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Prime Chelsea Talk, episode 3. We're back with a lot of interesting news that has developed in the last 12 to 15 hours. But before we get into any of that, we've got a massive guest who has been on CFC Fan TV fairly recently, and quite a lot fairly recently. We've got Matt. How you doing, fella?
Yeah, man, big up. Yeah, obviously, you'll probably see me just always ranting on random channels everywhere. I'm always happy just to come on anyone's channel, just talk Chelsea. Always good to talk Chelsea. Down here, times are a bit all over the place, so whenever I'm available, I'm always there. But no, we're gonna have a good discussion today. A lot to talk about, man. Always a lot to talk about when it comes to Chelsea. Never a normal day for Chelsea.
Definitely, definitely. And just before we get into anything, Matt has literally just finished work, so big up to him for getting on as soon as he can. Like,
No stress.
and obviously you're 14 hours ahead of us or something silly like that.
Yeah, it's nine
So
forty p.m. right now. So
there
yeah,
you go. He's probably knackered from a day of work, but he's still come on to the show. So thank you and big up to you, Matt. We've got Will in the comments first. Obviously, Will, the first ever moderator of the channel. So yeah, we've got Sportswire. Big up, Georgia, Matt. Good to see you,
big up
mate.
VJ.
Big up you, mate. We've got a few things to talk about today. Obviously, there's a lot speculating around the Kounde deal. Barcelona interested, Chelsea interested. Are they going to nick him from us like they nicked Rafinha from us? But before we do that, we've got a topic to talk about involving Armando Broja and West Ham. Um, we've got Daz in the chat, big up. And we've got Chelsea Fan TV in the chat, big up. Thank you for joining.
Big up
And
Sammy or Lewis, whoever's on it.
yeah, thank you guys for joining. That's huge for a third episode. That is huge. Thank you guys for coming on. But yeah, Armando Broja is off to West Ham. But is he? He's not. It's off because there's been a lot of speculation with West Ham in a deal for Sassuolo striker Skamaka. And just today, I'm seeing that they're interested in Philip Kostic from Frankfurt. So, Matt, what I'll ask you is Armando Broja, did you want him to stay?
At first, yes. Like I do want Broja to stay. I think we take away his football aspect. People will dislike it. I really like his style of play. He's got a format of a striker. He's got the physical. He's got the tactical. He's got the dribbling. It's everything a striker wants. I want to keep him for the future. This is a striker that any team would want. Just looking at his physique, I would keep him. Let him progress. There's no rush on this lad, and I don't think Chelsea want to sell him. I don't even think he wants to leave. It was just some news that West Ham were interested in him. They were wanting him. They were very keen on him. And thankfully, he declined and Chelsea declined, which is good because we don't want to be selling our youngsters. I get some of them, yes, there's some of them that need to go. Some of them need to stay. But I've always said this quote, and I always stick by it. When we have our loanies, or not loanies, when we have our youngsters, we need to use our youngsters for when we need them, not for when we want them. And Broja right now is a massive need. He's a massive, massive aspect for our striker role. Havertz is our only striker, man. So Broja can perform and definitely progress in a Chelsea team like we have right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing to note is that he actually did all right in quite a shit Southampton team. So
Yeah.
if you put him into the Chelsea team, obviously, which is miles better than Southampton, maybe, or no, not maybe, definitely, he'll probably perform a lot better. But another thing that sort of strikes me is the fact that Timo Werner, obviously, we know he's not the best player. He misses a lot of chances and all that, but he hasn't really been given a good run of games at striker position. So for me, I feel like he needs that sort of confidence. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be starting up front. I know what to do instead of starting him on the left or the right or anything like that. So what do you think about that?
Now, Timo Werner's finished, man. I think Timo Werner's, he had that season under Mr. Frank, as everyone knows to call him. I call him the double F. He is a shocking manager, in my opinion. He got the best out of Werner as a striker role. He played a lot of games there. He had a lot of opportunity. Tuchel came in. He tried another format where we played him as a creator, not as a striker. Same with Havertz. We switched. Havertz went from a creator to a striker. Werner went from a striker to a creator. They switched the roles. We assume Werner might have been better as a creator because the guy can't finish, right? He got even worse. He played 2 whole seasons under Tuchel. He's 26. I just don't think he's fit for the league. I think he's a great player. I think he'll kill in Bundesliga. Anyone who makes the Premier League is a great player, obviously. It's just, I've always said, you got to either fit the Premier League or fit the system. Werner, unfortunately, does not fit any of those. Going to a Bundesliga, a Dortmund, a Bayern, a Mainz, I don't know, any Bundesliga team, he'll kill it there because you got a lot more time, you got a lot more space. Look at Nkuku. I get scared when people bring up Nkuku. I love the player, but I look at the league he's in. I go look at the goals he scored. He has a lot of time. He has a lot of space. Lewandowski, the guy hasn't scored from outside the box. Maybe going into La Liga, he might be a different player. So Werner is a tricky one, but I think this guy's absolutely finished. I think he should be our first one to go. He's garbage.
I mean, fair enough, fair enough. I've before Timo Werner signed for Chelsea, I watched him in the Champions League against, especially that goal against Spurs, which was what he was most memorable for that season. He scored 34 goals that year in all competitions, and we thought we had a star player on our hands. And he started off all right under Lampard, and then just sort of went downhill and downhill, and now he's at rock bottom, like you say. So I think Broja, would you say Broja should be our starting striker if we was to play that system?
Like now, like coming like next season.
Well, yeah, build him into this team sort of thing. Or do you
Yeah, I
think
think he should
start
be
straight
built.
away?
Yeah, no, I don't think he starts straight away. I think he'll be a rotational player at Havertz. Him and Havertz will be fighting for the position because if we say Broja's a backup, I would say no, not really. I think he's a player who can fight for the position because I've said this about Havertz. Havertz is an 80 million pound player. This guy wasn't cheap. He's 23. I need to see some. I need to see more from him. Giving him competition, maybe it's not the biggest competition for him, but if Broja steps up, competition is what he needs. I look at Mendy. Mendy's a player who needs competition because he was rubbish last season. He had that competition. Hopefully he pushes it and now he continues to be better this season. Havertz is a player who needs competition. Every player needs competition to become the best. And Havertz didn't have that last season. He was always there starting. And I haven't seen enough from Havertz. We all know he is a great talent. But unfortunately, the numbers aren't showing it. He's the same level of goals of Werner. Like it's not the best stats to look at physically. It's not the best CV report. So I need to see more numbers. I need to see physical numbers, and I need to see consistency because that's something we haven't seen with Havertz. I remember the Champions League final season. The only time he was playing well was the second half. You look at him this season. You could say 4 or 5 games, and then he's off for 4 or 5 games, and he comes back. Main thing is consistency. I don't want him to score 30 goals in 30 games. No, that's what I'm not asking for. I'm asking for at least 15 goals. At least 15 goals minimum because he's 23. He's not getting any younger. We paid 80 million pounds for him. We have the same. I keep the same consistency to Werner. Werner's, as I said, I think Werner's finished. We paid 65 million for him. He's had 2 seasons as well, but he's a bit older. Havertz, I'm not saying I want to sell him, but I just need to see more. I really do need to see more. I'm gonna start panicking, to be honest with you, man.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Havertz, we know he's a great talent. We've seen what he can do on the pitch. I think my favourite moment, although it wasn't a goal other than the Champions League final, is that little flick over the defender and then the volley against Crystal Palace. That was, if that went in, that would have been one of my favourite goals in a Chelsea shirt ever. But yeah, I think for Havertz is, like you said, he needs that bit of a push. He needs that bit of competition to sort of help him develop into a better player. And I think you're right. Broja might be able to produce that for him if Tuchel sort of. I think what Tuchel needs to do with that is maybe start Broja for a game and then drop Havertz, because then it will give Havertz sort of that sense. Oh, hang on a minute, I've been dropped here. Maybe I need to start working harder. And yeah, so I'm actually genuinely happy that Broja isn't going, and at least if he does go, he's not going to shitty West Ham. That's
Yeah,
the
where he sits
best
behind
bit.
Antonio. Like, would you rather sit behind Antonio or would you rather sit behind a Kai Havertz where you'll be in a better team and a better manager? You don't want to be under David
Yeah.
Moyes. David Moyes or Thomas
No,
Tuchel, man. Like, come on, Thomas
no.
Tuchel is obviously a better option to have, and I think he's smart on that. I think he's smart and he knows he'd rather keep Thomas Tuchel than go to David Moyes. To be honest,
Yeah.
he ain't dumb.
Yeah. I mean, he was under Ralph Hasenhüttl last year, and I think he wants to step up, not a step down.
Yeah.
So we've got Yusuf in the chat. Big up, Yusuf. Hope you're doing well, mate. He'll be the co-host once he's back from his holiday. So we'll hope to see you soon, Yusuf. But moving on, probably the biggest talking point of the day and of the show is Jules Kounde. Now, Matt, obviously we spoke a little bit about this before the stream. There's a lot of fake news and a lot of interesting rumors developing around this deal. Now, last night it was considered done. This morning, for me, last night it was considered done. This morning, as I just wake up, I read on our family football group chat is it's not done, and Barcelona are done or close to it. Because was it that Gerard Romero guy?
Romeo. Yep.
Yeah, he tweeted that he's gone to Barcelona, and it's just not like Fabrizio's now coming out and saying that it's not. He's going to Chelsea, and all these other people are saying he's going to Chelsea. So Matt, what's going on? Because I'm confused.
Man, I've been saying this guy's been done since 2021 June. Man, I need this guy done for my legacy, man. I need it done for my legacy. I've been saying since 2021 this guy's a
Yeah.
Chelsea player. But Gerard Romeo is just a propagator for Barcelona. He just wants to get Barcelona in his name. If I was on his Twitch stream today,
Oh
and
yeah.
every time this, I don't know he did Twitch until I was I'm on his Twitch stream. And every time he brings up Kunde, he does some little dance, and the chat goes crazy. They're spamming that. When you get that attention from bringing false news, you're gonna keep doing it. And this guy just wants to keep Barcelona relevant. I've always said, Laporta this season is trying to keep Barcelona relevant. They know they're in debt, but they're trying to get investors and they're trying to keep relevant. That's the two things they're doing. And Gerard Romeo is the one helping them with that. This Kunde deal is already done. I'll be honest with you. I think he's going to Chelsea. If they both put 55 million at Sevilla, and Jules Koundé has to say he would pick Chelsea. He's not stupid like Christina to go to a club where you get paid in pennies and Doritos. Why would you want to do that when he can come to a club where he really wants the club? Barcelona, they don't have the money. I mean, they do have the money, but it's not legit money. It's something else. And what they're doing is they have money, but they're not fixing their debt. They're creating more debt. They're going for Lewandowski. They're going for these Rafinha. This is not solving their problem. This is not in 5 6 years. They're going to look back and go, why did we do this? Because they're not solving their debt. They're creating more of it. So I think we look at all the other journalists. We look at the Sevilla journalists. They're all saying it's Chelsea. The only people who are saying it's Barcelona is the Barcelona journalists. I'm not scared. I'm just a bit worried because I'm just wondering why I'm on Chelsea's ass right now because I'm like, why are we taking so long? Why have we been taking so long? This is a player, remember, Tuchel has been eyeing since 2019. People saying Tuchel never wanted him is false. This guy's been wanting him for years. But it comes to me that why is Chelsea taking so long to sign a player we've been linked to for nearly a whole year? Why are we coming to July 23rd right now and it's been a whole year and we still can't get this player done? That's is it our pool? Is it that do we really want him? Do we really want to pay the price? It's just very, very confusing. This every time Barcelona comes in a situation, this transfer becomes confusing. And I hope this doesn't downgrade Kunde's playstyle, and I hope this doesn't downgrade the fans' thoughts on Kunde because this guy's a bowler. If you ever watch him play, this guy's a bowler. People complaining about his height. This guy's not the shortest guy. He's 5'10", 5'9". This guy is going to come out. He's going to bowl the league. He's going to bowl the team. We're going to have the best back three in the world. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, that's a bold statement, but fair enough. Got to back your own team, and I have to say,
I only back it with our
agree.
defense, man. Our attack's garbage. I mean, we have Sterling, but our attack's garbage. But our defense is solid. If we get Kempembe, that's an even better add-on. We don't. Perfect back three, fine. We're gonna have the best balanced back three in the world.
I mean, yeah, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, and Koundé. But that's the thing with Thiago Silva. I don't think he'd be able to start every single game. So who do you bring in? Do you bring in Chalobah, Colwill, Sarr? Who do you bring in?
Personally, I'm bringing a Kempembe because I put Koulibaly in the middle. I've said Sarr, average defender. I don't think he's bad. People claim him to be. I think he's average. He's good enough for Chelsea. No, I'll sell him the first opportunity. Colwill again. He hasn't proven enough to be. Yeah, you're a second starter. If he stays, I'm fine. I don't mind it. But I wouldn't stop development of signing a Kempembe to bring in Colwill. I won't do that. A Kempembe is needed to back up the left because I just said Thiago Silva's not going to be a continuous playing defender. I see maybe. Let's say we play 50 games. I see maybe 25. I only see him play the big games. Any FA Cup game, he's not playing. Any Carabao Cup game, he's not playing. I hope he can. I hope we see as many games from him as you can. But let's be honest. Let's look at his age. Let's look, last season, how much difficulties there were just forcing him to play a game against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup. Like, I don't know why we have to do that. But this season, we have to see how he can fit. Can he do 30, 20 games? We'll have to see. We can't predict it. But we've got to look at previous knowledge, previous players, and we look at their ages, and then we dictate from there. This guy can be an exception to the rule and become a starter for us for all we know. But as backups come, we have the backups, but they're not the best backups. But that's not the priority right now. We signed Kunde, perfect, done. Kimpembe, not priority, but let's get him if we can. But then we got to go straight to fixing our attack after this. But we still got to get the numbers in there
I
for our
think,
defense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Because after both Rudiger Christensen went, we definitely needed to address that back line. And so far, that's what we're doing. But I think, as you said, the next port of call, the next priority has to be getting a goal scorer, a striker, or someone else in that attack that can provide the goals for us. Because that's what we tried doing with Lukaku last season, and it just did not work, as we all saw. I see a lot of people complaining that he's gone and he should have stayed, give him another chance. But he was given many chances last season. 7 touches against Crystal Palace, not good enough. I'm sorry, it's just trash. It really is just trash. But like 5 past 7 says, we need a goal scorer and ASAP. So I think that's what we're going to need to do. But more on the Kounde deal, obviously. Like you say, Kounde isn't the tallest player, but he's strong. He's quick. He gets the tackles right most of the time, from what I've seen. And I just think he's the right man to play on that right hand side of the defense, because I saw something. I think it was Yusuf actually that told me he can play sort of right wing back or right back as well. Or is that
He's
more of a
played there. He's going to play 3-4 games as right back. It's like if we desperately need it, pop him there, but he can't play right wing back. I don't think he's ever played that before. Definitely not.
okay? So on the note of that, what would you say right now is your ideal starting 11?
So if we look at goals, everyone knows, if you know me, you know Kepa's a must stay. Kepa's a must stay. We sell him, we go downhill. I'm not having this another season of Mendy playing again when he's playing bad. No, if Mendy plays bad, get him off the pitch, like any other player would. You know, we keep it consistent for all our other 10 players. We keep it consistent for Mendy. Mendy had a shocker performance last season.
Yeah,
55% save rate is not good enough. It's not good enough. That was Kepa. He'll be sent to Lazio by now. So I need to see more from him, definitely. But Mendy's obviously our first keeper. You know, we look at the three at the back. I would say if I was to pick hypothetically, I would put a Kempembe on the left. But look at talking realistically, it's Koulibaly, Thiago, Kounde. Now these would be our starting front three. Say we play Manchester City, Liverpool. But if you were to play maybe say Crystal Palace in the FA Cup game, then I don't think Thiago Silva plays. I think Koulibaly goes in the middle and maybe Chalobah. But Chalobah is an example of when you rush a youngster. A youngster is this one is when you rush, especially a defender. And I hope to not see the same with Colwell. I think Chalobah, he did well. I think he did okay. But again, it goes back to that statement that Chalobah was a need, not a want. So we had to use him.
yeah,
So there's not a lot of controversy why Chalobah here, why he was needed. So I think him progressing, he doesn't go back to academy, he doesn't go on loans, nothing like that. He must stay, he must progress, he must get better. Because that game against Charlotte, whatever they call Charlotte FC, he was
Charlotte.
all
Yeah,
right. He was all right throughout the game. Minor mistake. He needs to work on that. Hands is always up. I don't know why, but something mental. He needs to change it. It's just it's a mental thing, which should be an easy fix. You go to the middle. We play double pivot.
yeah.
Jorginho is our most important midfielder this season.
Really,
Most important midfielder. We see Koulibaly coming in. Great connection between those two. If you watch him under Napoli, fantastic. Sorry, days, fantastic. And Jorginho is our only defensive midfielder. We cannot play a Kovacic and Kante in a double pivot because we know Kante is a garbage DM. Two managers both said the same thing that they can't play Kante in a DM. Kovacic is great, but this guy's not a DM. He can't play here. So Jorginho is our most important midfielder. I've always said with Jorginho is a structured midfielder. When you look at a double pivot, if you've ever played in double pivot, because I've played there a couple of times, and I know when you got the two midfielders, one goes up, one sits back, and then you guys keep switching. You keep switching. But when in football, you get always so confused. If you have a Kovacic and Kante, these two are constantly switching. They don't know where they are on the pitch. If you have a Jorginho and Kovacic, they're much more structured. Jorginho sits back, Kovacic presses. It's a harder job for Kovacic, but that's the job. That's why it works so hard. Because Kovacic is the presser, Jorginho is the sitter. He blocks off the transition. And people don't understand this formation, why Kovacic dash Jorginho works so well is because Kovacic is a presser. He runs, he presses. Jorginho sits back, waits to receive it. So that's the two roles. As I said, very, very important. Wing backs, Chilwell, James, you already know. And then front three, I'm assuming Mount, Havertz, Sterling, whatever our backups are there. No clue, man. I don't know. Whatever backups there, whatever it's there. I just want to see Pulisic. That's it. That's the only one I have faith in our attack backups. Adoy needs to go on loan. Ziyech, not sure. Werner's done. Gallagher's there as well, actually. I forgot Gallagher. So Gallagher will be a good backup to Mount. So we have a decent team. It's not a bad team. I think we can compete with Liverpool. I've already said I don't think we win the league. We obviously compete for it, 100%. It's not ruled out. But let's look realistically. I don't think we win it. I think we finish second or third. But I think our main objective is to try and beat Liverpool and try to get the gap between City and us lowered. So for the next season after that, we go for the win.
100% agreed. Talking about where we finish in the league, if you haven't already, for everyone watching, go and check out the Premier League prediction show we did yesterday. We had 3 guests on, so go check it out. I think I had us to finish 4th. I don't know. I'm really not sure about this team at the moment. I just feel like, obviously, I've got Liverpool and City first and second. I've got them either way because, it's going to be either Liverpool or City to win the league. And then I've got sort of Chelsea and Spurs in that third and fourth department. I feel like Liverpool, City, the top tier, then it's us and Spurs, and then everyone else is just below. If you understand what I mean, it's just
no. I've always said with Liverpool, I don't think they progressed from last season. I think Mane is a massive loss. Darwin Núñez is rubbish. I've said that before, even stepped on the pitch.
Really?
He's rubbish. He's not worth 100 million. He's a 40 million pound player. We get a couple goals here and there. I don't think he'll be like a bad 3-4 goals. I think maybe get 5 or 6, 7 or 8, but he's not going to be scoring 20 plus goals like everyone proclaims. Spurs are going to be good this season, possibly. On paper, they look good. Let's see how they put it on that pitch. But I think we look at our team last season. I think Koulibaly is an upgrade to Rudiger. I think Kounde is a massive upgrade to Christina. And I think Sterling is an add-on. Now, the only thing that worries me is fitness. I look at fitness on someone like Jorginho. I look at fitness of someone like how does Chilwell come back into the left wing back position? I look at someone like Reece James. How does that come back? Our depth isn't really there. Our depth isn't the best, just like last season. So the only thing I'm scared of is the depth. If we go injury free for the whole season, as I said, we'll finish second. We could even win a Champions League before we care if we go injury free. We have a great team. It's just keeping that consistency. That Sterling might not perform. We don't know if everyone performs well and the team doesn't get injured, we're going to have a great team. You look at Arsenal. Arsenal have some bad players in their team. They're not if they all perform, they're still not going to win anything good. We've got really good players. We just need to keep them consistent. And as I said, I'm going to say it one more time. Liverpool is not going to progress. Hence why I say I think we finish above Liverpool this season.
I mean, definitely interesting, I have to say, because my brother-in-law runs his own podcast, and him and his cousin are big Liverpool fans. And I know they're going to be watching this back later, so it'll be interesting to see what they say about it. But
so I'll also add, if to give them the question of thought, their midfield. If Thiago gets injured, I think they're screwed. They've got no one there. Naby Keita's finished. They just sold that Japanese guy, Minamino. Their backline's okay, but their attack, they've downgraded. I don't think Salah is gonna progress as well. I think Mane was the one to push Salah. Mane was probably the best Liverpool player on that team. He was the one keeping there. He was the one pushing his plays. He was a true footballer. Someone always said this. When you look at, I'll bring this example. Conor, what's his name? Khabib and Conor McGregor, right? Those two. I always use this example. Conor McGregor, he's got fighting, he's got social media, he's got drinking, he's got this, he promotes this, and he's got boxing on the side. When you've got so much going on in your head, you don't focus on football. You look at Khabib. Khabib just does boxing, Allah, boxing, Allah, boxing, Allah. Mane was the exact same. Football, Allah. Football, Allah. Football, Allah. When you just have football and Allah in your life, that's all you need to progress in football. But when you look at Salah, Salah's got football, he has Allah, but then he's got promotions, he has to do social media, this and that, and this and that, and he's got too much stuff in his life. It's a very, 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 very detailed analogy, which I already explained. It took me 35 minutes to explain it, and my whole chat was like, over 35 minutes I understood it. But when you've just got minimal things going on in your life, it's much easier to progress and focus on football. And I've said Mane is a player when you just got Allah, and then you've got football, Allah, football, and that's all you've got in your life. You are going to be the best footballer you can. And I said Mane always, always, always pushed Liverpool, and now they've lost that player. I don't see them progressing.
I mean, I think personally for me, I think obviously getting rid of Mane is a big, big loss for Liverpool. He's been definitely their best player of the last year and a half. Obviously, we know Salah gets all the goals, but people need to realise that what Mane does on the ball and off the ball is incredible. He gets a lot of assists, he scores a lot of goals. And obviously, they've got Jota, Diaz. Now they've got Nunes, Salah. So their front line is still looking good, but I have to agree with you in saying I don't think that these players are as good as what Mane was. And I think obviously Salah's got a good few years left in him, but it just depends what Salah shows up. Because sometimes you can see Salah's brilliant on the ball, he doesn't miss, but sometimes he misses. He's sort of like a Timo Werner. But
I think the thing with Salah and why I bring that previous example is I would only use it between these two players because Salah is not not a motivated player, and it's always come out Liverpool, insides and they say Salah is not very motivated to play football. Mane was, and they always say Mane was a pushing always Salah to play better. That's why I bring that example between Khabib and McGregor, because when you got someone who's not motivated to football, it's hard for them to play better in football. So when you've had Mane on your shoulder, Salah do this, Salah be better, Salah be that, he's going to do better. And we'll see from this season if I'm right or not. Does Salah progress? Does he decline? We'll see with this season.
I guess we will. It's going to be an interesting one. A lot of teams upgrading their players. A lot of teams making a lot of decent signings. So, one thing I will ask before we round up is Haaland good enough for the Premier League?
Haaland. Well, I wanted Haaland, when it was the Lukaku versus Haaland days. I think Haaland was great. I don't even know, man. Like, I think it's so hard to point out because as a player, you wanted. I liked, his full play, his physique, his everything about him is fantastic. His pace. I genuinely don't know if he will fit in Pep's system. I don't know. That's something people have asked me. I said I genuinely don't know. I look at Darwin Nunes. I said Darwin Nunes is rubbish. Just the way he plays. When I watched him back in Portugal and all that, he wasn't that good. But Haaland's a hard one to take because he's a very independent player, very independent. And the last independent player was Jack Grealish, and look how that turned out. So that's something I just point to myself and I say, let me see game week 1, game week 2, and I'm gonna dictate how he plays it because he's a hard one to dictate because we look at him in Dortmund and I look at him at Salzburg. Both times were both different styles of play. You just see through balls, he'll run through the pace, score the goal in the Dortmund. Salzburg, you give it to his chest, you give it to his feet, he'll turn and shoot from anywhere. You're coming to the Premier League. You're not gonna have a lot of time. You're not gonna have a lot of space. I think he'll do well, but I don't think he'll bang it out like 30 goals. I think he'll do well. I think he'll be top goal scorer for City. But I don't think he's going to be like 50, 60, 40 goals. But I still think he'll do well.
Fair enough. Just saying thanks, Ian, for liking and subscribing. Means a lot. And actually, I do have one last question. It's just because in our little group chat, my mate Yusuf doesn't particularly like this player, and we always have a joke about it. But what do you think, Marcos Alonso? Obviously, we know he's getting on a bit and he's not as good as he used to be. But last season, when Chilwell got injured, did he do a good job? Was he bad? Was he good?
I wouldn't say he was bad or he was good. All I would say is he did his job. He did his job. He came in. He did a secondary wing back position. He left. I will not criticize Marcos. I think Marcos Alonso should go. I think he's a bit of a curse. But he didn't do bad last season. I look at him and I go, last season, he did his job. He wasn't good. He wasn't bad. He just did his job. I think
Yeah.
it's nothing for me to sit here and say he needs a new contract. He needs to get out of my club. It's someone look at. That's what a secondary wing back does. We all knew he could play wing back. It was nothing new. Look, all the old days and the old good old days when he was the best wing back in the world, and he did good. We knew he could do that. Like if he stays this season, I'm not going to be upset. But my priority for him is just to leave.
I mean,
Simple as
yeah,
that.
we've got Yusuf in the comments saying Alonso is poor and needs to leave. I mean, we've got me and my friend. We've made tons of different memes about Yusuf not liking Alonso. It's hilarious because every time he mentions Alonso, we always go, yeah, it's going to be bad, and our whole group chat knows that Yusuf hates Marcos Alonso, and I do not understand why, because I think he's a decent player. He does what he needs to do. Yeah, he's not the fastest, but he's what 31 now, and he wasn't the fastest to start with, so I think he's a good player, but I don't
I
think
think. Go on, sorry.
I don't think he's the best wing. Obviously, we know Chilwell's better than him, but I think he's a decent backup for Chilwell.
As a backup last season, as I said, yeah, he did his job. I don't think he's the worst player. I think the Lampard season, I wanted him gone. I wanted him gone. Even I think even the Champions League final season, I wanted him gone. And then he stayed and was like, fine, he did his job. Nothing. I don't think it's anything to complain about. Yeah, he's slow. He's very slow to be fair, but he has that difficulties. But he is our best shooter in our team. He's the best shooter in our team last season. Like you look at everyone, he was better than Mount, Havertz' shooting. This guy had a good foot on him, but I think his time's up. I think his time needs to dip. I think Emerson possibly be our wing back for what's his name, Chilwell. But I don't think Barcelona now want Alonso. Like this Barcelona, man, they're just all over the place. Now they don't want Aspi or Alonso. So and I actually agree with Tuchel on this one. I want Aspi to leave, but I agree. Barcelona are disrespecting him. This is a club legend. This is the club legend that is Spain captain or Chelsea captain, whatever, and they're treating him like he's just another 8 million player. They're getting a bargain on him, man. So
Oh yeah,
Barcelona,
definitely.
we have made a new enemy. I mean, we already are enemies, Barcelona and Chelsea, but there's going to be more rivalry between us. So Barcelona, man, broke Salona as I call them in the mud, man. I can't wait for
Bring it
Kunde to
on,
be the Chelsea
Barca.
player.
Bring it on. We'll smash you. But
I'm telling you,
yeah,
when Chelsea go in for a player, if they really want that player, they will get him. I don't know why they want Kunde. They've already got Arejo, they've got PK, they've got Umtiti, they've got Christina. They've just signed Christina from Chelsea. I don't know why they need another one.
yeah,
So Barcelona just wants to keep relevant, man. And as I said, I don't think they were really in for him. It was just like us for like a Lewandowski. They were interested. They couldn't afford it. They moved on. But these propaganda, Jerry Mayu, and all that just want to keep Barcelona relevant.
definitely. I think Barcelona, they're not the club they was 2012, 2013, 22, even 2009, because that was probably the best Barcelona team I'd
Yeah,
ever
for
seen.
sure.
And I was only 6 at the time. But um, overall, I just think Kunde comes in, we've improved our backline. The backline, like you said, could possibly be one of the best in the league, if not in the world. So all we need to do now is get a striker. But Matt, thank you so much for coming on. It means absolutely everything. For it's only our 3rd episode, and someone from the biggest Chelsea TV channel, whatever you want to call it, has come on. So it means a lot. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
No problem, bro. Anytime, shoot me a message. As I said, always just keen to talk Chelsea with someone. Yeah, always down.
If you would like to shout out your socials as well, just
Yeah,
in case
obviously,
no one.
guys. Yeah, just right here. If you guys YouTube, Twitter, find me there. Obviously, I always voice the opinions on Twitter, YouTube, or you find me pretty much around on the Chelsea community. You
Yeah,
find me there
yeah.
whenever I have time. But good chat we had. It was definitely a good chat. Definitely, if you ever want me on again, I'll probably get you on my channel as well. We can have a good chat as well.
Yeah,
And I'll
definitely.
definitely be around on this channel for sure. I'm subscribed to it, notifications on, so I'll definitely be in the chat and stuff.
Thank you very much, mate. Yusuf will be on soon. I promise, guys, he'll be on soon with his controversial stuff. But anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one. See you.